Hello, Fear the Meerkat here. Welcome to the 34th episode of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Master Quest. I was hoping we could get the big Goron sword side quest done, but it seems that you need to wait until after you've done the Shadow Temple to get that done, so never mind. I just quickly skipped over Hyrule Field there. I really like this music. Cowboy style music. Try not to fall off there, it's quite awkward. I see, it's like a scene from a slightly implausible western. Can horses jump like that? I'm not sure. I don't know why I start sentences with either. I'd be delighted to fight my way through several thieves who would probably kill me on sight in order to rescue some people I've never met. I'd be so delighted I'm going to pointlessly jump off my horse. There we go. Since the pony is an adult horse now, you could call it a horser, but I can see disadvantages in that. So I should explain, I suppose, how this works. Well, for starters, you have to get caught by them, or you won't really advance through the game. Rather strangely, you can talk to one of them in white, and they won't capture you, but if one of the red ones, the ones dressed in red, then sees you, then they will. So yeah, you need to sort of sneak past them if you can, or when they'll blow that whistle and you'll just end up back in here again. You can also shoot them with an arrow to try to get rid of them. Attempting to hit them with anything else won't work, as though I think it also won't alert them. And then you need to follow my directions carefully, because there's lots of entrances and only some of them lead to where the carpenters are. Now, it's supposed to be possible to grab a heart piece using your hook shot from where I just was, at the top of the place that they put you in when they capture you. But there's a chest that you're supposed to be able to grab with your hook shot, long shot, sorry, but I've never been able to grab it, and there was a much easier way to get it later. I sort of assume that you can get it in the normal version, but not in the Master Quest version. That's certainly one possibility. Unfortunately, they give you rather tedious speeds here that you have to sit through several times. But yeah, you'll come here and find that you need to rescue them. They never seem to pay the favour as far as I can tell, but never mind, more on that later. And make it pretty clear that you're about to get attacked by one of these guys. Now, if they do a sort of, well, you'll see it in a minute, there's a thing they do with their swords like that, where they swish both of them around you, that, and they'll say don't take us lightly, and that will just put you back at the beginning again. So you need to avoid that. I'm not quite sure how you avoid it, but you need to try. It's much worse ending up at the beginning again than it is getting caught. Than it is getting killed. Sorry. Well, hurt. That is. Obviously getting killed is not good. It generally isn't. And yeah, you need to fight them with your sword, and then they'll drop the key and you can rescue him and then go on to the next one. Now, it seems to me that this is fairly stupid, because once you've defeated her, she will decide, that's it, not only am I going to leave you alone with the key, which you can clearly unlock the cell and let our prisoners out, I will not alert the guards to your presence. And after that, you still need to avoid being spotted by the guards, even though they clearly know that you're there, because she would tell them. It makes no sense. A bit like someone celebrating by randomly waving his hands around. Anyway, yes, the carpenters all give you exactly the same speech as well, which seems bizarre, it seems to me, and it really is word for word exactly the same speech. Like, they've all gotten together at some point during their lives after all becoming carpenters and said, if we ever get caught by the Gerudo and someone comes to rescue us, I think we ought to have a speech prepared for what we're all going to say to the person who has released us. I think we should rehearse it and memorise it so we'll know what to say in advance in the unlikely event that these events occur. Also, these guys, why does shooting them in the head only knock them unconscious? And why, when an arrow flies straight past their face but doesn't hit them, do they not notice it? And that's not the only thing about this section that makes no sense. By the way, you can't knock out the ones wearing white for some reason, but it's fairly easy to avoid their eyes, basically. They need to just not spot you. And here's another thing that makes no sense. Why has she not noticed you? You're pretty close to her. You can clearly see her. So why has she not spotted you? They have the incredible power of only getting knocked unconscious instead of being killed by an arrow straight in the head, and yet their eyesight is terrible. It's got to be a major disadvantage for thieves, don't you think? That they can't see an arrow flying straight towards them. Seriously, I don't normally complain about Ocarina of Time, but it seems to me that although this is a fun section of the game, the game's creators wanted to have a stealth section, and they sort of cobbled this illogical nonsense together so they would have an excuse for a stealth section. You really don't need it. The only real reason to do this isn't to through the carpenters. Nice as it is, they don't really do anything for you except repair the bridge, and as you know, you can use Epona to get over here without the bridge being repaired. I suppose it's possible there's a later section where the carpenters come in useful, and I haven't gotten to that bit yet. But yeah, the main reason to do this is just so we can get to the Haunted Wasteland, which is the only way to get to the Spirit Temple. There isn't really any other good reason to do this. This is also why you need to get the Lens of Truth. I don't know what the Lens of Truth is. Lens of Truth beforehand, because otherwise you can't make it through the Haunted Wasteland. Also, how does he know how many of them have been rescued? Did the Gerudo tell him for some reason? And how does he not get spotted when he escapes from the prison? There's clearly several guards in front of the main entrance wandering around. They spot Link, so why don't they spot this fat guy who walks in a really weird, noticeable way? Look, see? Why didn't she spot him when he did that? I'm sorry, but the plot of this bit just makes no sense at all. Anyway, as I say, be careful to watch what I'm doing if you wanna play along with this and complete this bit. Gerudo's clearly dressed for the desert in these very light clothes, which makes sense, I suppose. And they seem to have, I suppose they found these skulls somewhere in the desert and decided to, I suppose, dress them up to make them look nicer in feathers and so on. You know what the weird thing is? In this room there's something sticking up. You can see it there in the wall that seems to be a ledge specifically so you can jump from it to reach this table and get these two pots here, but you can't actually reach it by jumping. You can jump off these two steps to the sides, to left and right here, that lead upwards, but you can't actually reach the table. Also don't know what Navi is doing turning green there, unless it's to say, look, there's a Gerudo here. Anyway, it might be possible with the hover boots, which you can get from the Shadow Temple, but and presumably they don't spot someone hovering through the air. I won't put it past them. But yeah, other than that, you can't reach it. But please don't get me wrong, for a stealth section this is quite enjoyable. Also, it's kind of weird how the carpenters all look identical. Maybe they're supposed to be brothers, twin brothers, it's possible. Or maybe it's just Nintendo being lazy and not creating another design for them. Although I admit, it probably takes a long time to create 4 separate character designs for minor characters who don't even talk or anything, so... They do wake up eventually, although it does take a long time. You're not really going to run out of arrows unless you get lost. And now we have this rather dull speech again. I don't know if the fortress is just built as a prison, or if there's more rooms with stuff like living quarters for the Gerudo and weapons stored there and things like that. If there are, you can't get to them. Now at night there is a gold sculpture quite near the chest with the heart piece, which we'll be getting later, but probably in the next episode. No, actually it is later in this episode. Hard to keep track of these things. I've actually recorded some of the footage for the next episode already, so. Anyway, yes, there is a gold sculpture there, but we're not going to get that one, or I'm not going to get that one anyway, because I'm only 2 away from 50, and you can get the other 2 easily elsewhere. Now, I don't know if you get that don't take us too lightly message if you die but then get revived by a fairy. It's possible, and that's why I didn't allow myself to just get killed here. You'll notice that I've used save files, perhaps I shouldn't do, but I've discussed that before. to try to avoid being killed, and that's why. I don't want to have to start again. I'm not sure if you have to start again with all of the carpenters, or just however many remain as well. I know you restart in that same room that you were in before, but that's it really. The Gerudo also seem to leave you arrows in pots, which seems a stupid thing to do, since the Gerudo must surely be aware that arrows are their one weakness. I tried to see if there was a heart in this box, but there isn't one, so... Well, maybe there is. I don't know. I couldn't be bothered, honestly. I like the fact that they have an animation for him being hurt. I'm not quite sure if looking like he's out of breath quite makes sense, but I'm glad to have something. Oh, I remember the good old days when you could hit a china pot with a very sharp object and it would just break. But no, I cannot do that now. I must actually grab it and throw it at the wall. Please don't get me wrong with all of this complaining, it's just partly having something to say really. I do actually think this is a really fun section, as long as you don't get lost. This is actually one of my favourite parts of the game, and it's also my favourite mini dungeon, if you count it as a mini dungeon. I suppose it does count. I can't think of a good reason why it wouldn't. So I wish they'd had different music inside the fortress as well as outside, but the outside music sort of makes up for it. This was a long fight, and I've left it in its entirety, even though I have taken out one or two other mistakes I made in the editing, because I thought, wow, you really deserve to see the full fight, basically. I was terrible. You're supposed to get them whilst they're not putting up defences, but I'm not very good at it. I'm not really quite sure of the timing for that. You know, I tried to get them stuck at a wall, but they're very good at jumping, so... I don't know if you leave this area, which I was in danger of doing here, if you have to start the fight again or not. She also seems to take more hits, as far as I can work out, although maybe that's just because she's the last one. You'd have thought they'd have been wearing more sort of camouflage stuff, since they're thieves. Something that sort of doesn't make them stick out in the desert in the way where the clothes would when there's just sand and I don't know, scrubby sort of bushes around, I guess. Whatever you find in the desert. I've never been to a desert. It's a pity. I've been to Spain and there's some fairly deserty sort of places, but there aren't any actual kind of deserts. Just very dusty sort of land, I guess. I'm not especially fond of extreme heat, and deserts are probably pretty hot. As I say, I wasn't sure if I'd have to begin again, which is why, even though I had a ferry just then, I didn't use it, so to speak. I'm gonna be quiet for a minute because I've been talking for ages and I've just been talking too much in the last few episodes. I suppose it could be an honour thing for them, like, you've beaten me, therefore you deserve for me to turn a blind eye, because you've proven yourself worthy, but that only works for me and you need to beat the others in order for that to happen with them. Perhaps that's it. Why they let you go. Carpenters all have similar names as well. They're probably brothers. Hopefully the audio isn't out of sync. Sometimes I get the audio and the video about half a second, starting about half a second distance between them. This is a pity because I can't find a way out of it. See, this suggests that it's an honour thing with them, which I suppose would explain why they said, become one of us, now that you have proven that you can release the prisoners we painstakingly captured. And shot several of us, and stabbed several of us. Not really, but having free access to all areas would be quite useful. It's not really a card, is it? It's sort of a membership parchment. Anyway, yes, now you can go anywhere in the fortress and you don't have to sneak around at all. And now it's time to get that heart piece I mentioned earlier, and there are a couple of ways to do it. The way I'm about to show you, and also you can go round to the right past the woman in white and the other person you think passed earlier, up on a sort of rise hill thing that lets you go to the right hand side of the fortress. You'll see what I mean in a minute. But yeah, you need to end up on a bit that has vines on it. So you need to end up on this bit here with vines. This is me just approaching it from the other direction. Because it's difficult to navigate, and I basically didn't realise I was in the right place, and I fell down, and I cut that bit out, and that's why I'm here. See, there's just no way to jump onto the table. Like the way they do turn and stare at you once you've accessed all areas, although I'm not sure how they all know. Those two don't seem to have moved from that room. I really am nitpicking this. I hope the quality of this video is okay. I'm not sort of quite as good as my others. Never mind. Anyway, I think Navi is just trying to indicate that you should be going on to there, because I can't find any other reason why it's turned green now. Probably trying to say, why don't you get this chest? And this is the only way to reach it, as far as I can tell. They really do have larger containers in this game. Anyway, that's pretty much the end of this episode. I'll see you next time when we'll be venturing through the haunted wasteland.